Boom! Yo, what's going on, y'all? Byron Rogers here for another episode of the Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast. This one I'm extremely excited about because my main man, I got someone who's important to me, someone who has like really helped me developmentally with the game. My man, Charles Law, up in the house. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Appreciate it.
Good. Yeah, man, it's good to have you here because I was like, this is one of the first dudes I try to get to come on the podcast, but he's grinding. Like, he's one of the only people I know that you be moving like how I've been moving, like probably even worse, you know?
Started like that, never really slowed down.
Yeah, like when you have that engine, it's like the only way to like work. It's the only way to move, you know? So, yeah, man, so it's good to have you. Charles and his company, for some of you guys, a little backstory. This is when I was coming back from Florida. So I'd already done a lot of work, done a lot of overseas work, had a little bit of background, a little bit of experience. And one of the other things that stood out to me about your company was at that time I was chasing a pager. So I was working with you and a few other boutique companies, and your company was the only one. One of the other ones did. They prescribed a training. They were like, go to Max Joseph's training. Right. There's some good stuff. Here's a discount. Get that in, blah, blah, blah. Right. Went and did that. But you had like a training regimen. We were training at least once a quarter.
Yeah.
At least, firearms. You were taking everyone out to the range, setting that trash up. What would you say about that stuff and being a company owner?
I think it's key, right? Because we all know, wherever you are, we're in California, right? But your state sanctioned training is such a bare minimum. I mean, it's
minimum. Right.
Even your CCW requals or what have you, and a lot of law enforcement doesn't have the budgets to get to the range as much as they really need to when you see some of the engagements that guys are getting into, right?
100%.
So, and the other thing that's challenging about, private sector EP is it's a box of chocolates, man. You
never know what you're going to get.
We've all landed on that team where multiple different backgrounds or no backgrounds or having a background or what have you. And, you're like, wow, this is a broad spectrum of talent and know-how.
Yeah.
You gotta blend it. One of the most telling things to me was, I did a CQB course and, we had team guys, we had SF guys, we had a Delta guy. There were a few different instructors. And
high-speed dudes.
Yeah, but it was a new team brought together. This whole group was a new bunch of guys to each other.
Yeah.
And watching those guys hash out what was going to be done before, we went in and kicked the door or what have you, was interesting.
A little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, everybody's got a way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be that tip of the spear guy, but,
you guys have a way.
Yeah. That guy does it how he did it in his unit. Muzzle up, muzzle down. There's a lot of differences.
It could be some weirdness if it doesn't get figured out.
Yeah, I remember talking to a mentor after that. And I said, this is why you got to train together.
Yeah.
Because as high speed as all those guys are, you're not just going to throw them together with no training and have them go hit something. It's not going to happen. Right, you're gonna train together for a while till you know what each other's doing, whether you're talking or not talking, or slide your car or what have you.
Yeah.
So that's ideal situation. So as far as private sector EP, which is not that, right? How do you get all these guys from these different backgrounds on the same page? Mm-hmm. So there's multiple different ways to do that, but one of the ways that we did was we would try to do it bi-monthly. It didn't always work out that way, depending on who was busy with what.
Yeah.
But at least monthly, and get out to the range and that you really get to see where guys are at.
You really get to see, man. And that was so beautiful and scary about it.
Right.
But then also for that, like beyond even all that, like for protection against, legal things, if you do have a shoot, right, it also helps the company look more diligent and responsible with the resources and things like that too, right?
Right. And there's pluses and minuses to that. It can help you or hurt you.
Yeah. Break it down.
Reputation and all that kind of stuff is correct.
Okay. Right?
And you're mirroring, the legal standards of the state or AO or whatever that you're in, and that kind of thing. But it for me, I felt like with that basic of training, we have some uniform armed details, which is not really what we do, but we have some of those things. But getting a new guy like that and me putting him out there in a uniform, which could be a target on your back,
right?
And armed. I didn't feel good about just going with the state minimum standard.
Heck yeah.
I'm putting that guy in a position where
you might have to earn it.
Yeah, and the threat level is that's what's needed at that position. And if his skills aren't up to speed and he gets challenged and doesn't win that engagement, I'm going to feel some responsibility in that.
Absolutely.
So I'm big on our people and setting them up to succeed in multiple, whether it's career advancement or surviving engagement or what have you. So I was big on, let me take a little more responsibility for that.
And I honestly, man, your company stood out that way because I remember there were multiple things. And even when I started moving up in the game and I was like, yo, I got to do this, I got to take this, I got to da. You were always looking out for my best interest and doing what you could to help me succeed. And I never was worried about talking to you about some kind of like where I was going next,
right.
Because it just, you understand the game. You had that. Right. I really appreciated that. That was good.
That's good to hear.
And you looked out for me. There was a couple spots where you were looking out for me, man. So,
yeah. Well, we all need that. How I look at it, I started doing this kind of stuff in 2000, and I had people that I loved working for,
right?
And I had people that I didn't like working for as much.
Yeah.
And a lot of it came down to character. And, what was that? One of your questions is, who are you at your core, right?
Yeah.
What is that guy about? Is he trying to help? Is he trying to help me achieve my goals?
Yeah.
Or am I just there to help him achieve his goals?
Yeah.
Right. And, all life and each other, I'm going to steal this word, symbiotic, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All is symbiotic relation.
It really is.
And the more that you make it that,
right,
the more successful you can be in my experience. So
100%.
I've always tried to, we onboard guys. I'm like, hey, what are your goals? And some guys' goals are, well, I'm a younger guy and I'm interested in this game, but I really want to get into law enforcement. Good. So how can I help you do that? Some guys are interested in the military. I'll turn them on to whoever he needs to talk to get that information and decide if that's the right path for him. So, the more successful that guy is, whether he stays with the company or not, if I can contribute to it, then I feel some value in that. I feel that's my greatest triumph, that I help somebody else achieve what they wanted to achieve, because I had people help me get where I'm at. So,
right.
I always appreciate that.
No, that's huge, man. And that's rare to find in the industry. So you guys are looking for a good company, look up law security investigations.
Yeah.
Got it.
Law security investigations and LSI.
LSI. Yeah, no, 100%, man. Real positive about working with you, working for you. So at your core, you touched on this, but who are you at your core? What'd you say?
This is such a good question.
It's right. You almost like sidestepped it a little.
So I had opportunity. You're not blindsided me. I had an opportunity to think about that for a second. And for me, I heard a couple of the other guys' answers, but for me is who did I help?
Okay.
Right? Who did I help? Who did I contribute to? At what level? And how many did I help out? Right. And that's a challenging question.
Yeah.
Right. Because you could, there's a lot of people out there.
Mm-hmm.
We've all had the sessions where we complained about something not being where it should be in the industry.
Right.
Right. So what did you do about it? So for me, at my core is just that guy, I'm a constant student of the game. How do I evolve and how do I get better? And then how do I help other people?
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay.
No wonder we get along, man. This is I love that.
This is what
I'm right there with you, bro. This is that's what this podcast is. This is the whole game. It's like, how can we contribute? How can I take responsibility for something and make it better?
Yeah. Well, I also had, we've all had that group of guys. Some guys been around a while and know a lot more than others, and we've all fallen into it possibly at some point where you look at it and you go, that's not the way it should be, or it shouldn't be done like that, or that was wrong, what have you.
Yeah.
And, I got into one of those conversations once, and I looked at it and I was like, well, you don't reserve the right to complain about that if you're not trying to do anything about it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and then the more you try to do something about it, the less you have to complain about it.
Absolutely, because then you understand the problem.
Absolutely.
So why do you do this work, man? Why do you do what you do, man?
I've always been, you talk about protector by nature, right?
Yeah.
I've always had that. You can listen to whoever, Gary Vee, whoever, right?
Yeah, whoever you're into.
Do what you're passionate about. So for me, it was something I was passionate about, right? How do I handle, the threats of another person so they can stay productive and do what they need to do? How can I be resilient into myself and then help others do the same, right? How can I fill and flow? For example, a corporate executive who is trying to sell widgets or what have you, and how do I give them that peace of mind so they can go ahead and do their good work in the world undistracted? So I was just always passionate about that. I figured we all know those guys, right? If you drop him on look, if the whole team is all stars, everybody's great, they've all worked together for, that's not hard. You know what I mean?
No.
But we've all been on a team where dudes needed to be pulled up and needed some help. But those guys, that one guy that you can put on a detail, whether he's doing halls and walls, he's the driver, he's the AIC, what have you, and the detail runs right. And he may not be the DL, right? He might be the driver, but he commands that respect within the team, and dudes know, this guy's on the detail, I'm gonna fall in line.
That's true.
And the detail runs well, regardless of what you put together. So and if you could get the whole team of those guys together, that's just a beautiful
dream team.
Yeah, we've had opportunities at that if we've been in it long enough, and that's the thing of beauty. But you don't always get it
right
in the private sector. So that's the guy you want to be. How do you take 100% responsibility for the detail from your position?
Right. There you go.
And that
that's
should
how
be
it is.
Everybody from the DL to the driver, the guy doing the hotel room in between, to the assistant, to the manager, the stakeholders that you got to deal with. And good teams or good individuals think in that direction, right? How do I make sure that this comes off without a hitch from my position, right? And stay in your lane and don't step out of bounds too much. But if you really think about whatever your goals are from wherever you're at, right? There's a lot to accomplish. I mean, if you're setting your goals where they should be, there's a lot to accomplish to get there, right? You already killed half your day or a third of it sleeping.
Yes.
If you're lucky, you kill a third.
Yeah. Right.
But you kill it with sleep. You gotta pay attention to family. There's a lot of things that take time out of your day to sit around and do nothing or waste time or idle time or whatever. A lot of guys like to binge watch Netflix and stuff. I like to watch a show here and there, but there's too many podcasts to listen to.
Right.
There's too much training to do.
Get them.
There's too many relationships to build to get somewhere, and you only got to find out an amount of time, right? That's a non-renewable resource.
Yes.
You are not getting that time back. So what are you doing with it to get to whatever that goal may be?
So as an employer, what do you look for when you're hiring guys? So we're going to break into a little bit more because, I love the way you run your company. I love the type of people you have at your company. So let's get out to the industry, a little bit of that stuff.
For me, it's the first thing I look at is character. Like your question, I want to learn this guy. Who is he to his core? What is he interested in? What's he passionate about? Is he just trying to, you'll get guys that want to just come kick their feet up.
Yeah.
I just want a weekend job.
Tire kickers.
Yeah. And I just want a weekend job and I don't want to be bothered. And that kind of, we had a guy, we've run into things here and there going through to one of our corporate clients that you got to drive through the pass.
Yeah.
There's snow. We had a lot of rain around here, and if it's enough elevation, you're going to get some snow.
And some ice.
Yeah. So, not long before the detail guys will call off. I can't make it, this and that. All right, man. No worries. I just roger up.
Yeah.
Right? And then I find somebody who's going to make it.
Okay.
And that dude finds a solution.
Yeah.
Another route or something like that. That guy wants to work, right? So we solve the problem that way. But what is his commitment to the detail, to the purpose, to the team? And who is he at his core, right? Because character will carry you through all the pitfalls of this industry, right? If you're a guy with good character, you should be able to interface pretty well with the client, interface well with your team, with your DL, what have you. And then if that's not there, you're gonna run into some challenges.
Yeah,
character first. Yeah.
That's good, man.
That's the first thing. You look for a ton of stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing, and then background plays a part. What skill set, what training has he done? Some guy might have a whiz bang background in the military, but no EP training necessarily. Law enforcement, no EP training. It's a different animal.
Completely different.
Totally different. Some of those guys transition expertly,
right,
into EP, and the other guys struggle. And then sometimes you get those dedicated private sector guys that are just so hungry because they feel like they got to compete. And they do great, and then you got other guys that aren't necessarily. So I look at character, the background, the know-how, skill set, experience, all those types of things. It's kind of a sit in front of that guy and get a good feel for him. Spend enough time to to see what he's about,
Heck yeah. If there was like a message that you would like to get out to agents in the field, any advice to guys trying to come up in the game, what would you say?
Get a mentor. Find a mentor. And you do as much training as you can get your hands on. Work your network. And for me, I was very successful in that I found a couple, I kind of landed on a couple of good mentors. They gave me all the P's and Q's, how to dress, how to speak, when to talk, when not to, what training to do. Your mentor, if he's your mentor, he's been in the game a while.
Yeah.
He's seen a few things. He should know what he's doing and what worked for him, and he can download that to you. So
huge.
Yeah. So who can you link up with who is where you want to be, and download that info and execute, put the work.
That whole find a mentor thing's huge, man.
Yeah, and what are you doing when you come into the industry as an individual? You're branding yourself.
Right.
You're representing your brand.
Yes.
Right, while you represent the brand that pays you, right?
Yes.
So if you work for XYZ company, you better represent them well, but you're always representing you well.
100%.
That company will lead into a job with another company and another company, and then maybe you want to build your own thing at some point. Whatever you want to get into, someone's always watching. You really got to represent, all the time.
Yes.
And that network game, a lot of guys like to go, I'm going to go to the whiz-bang shooting force, or I'm going to go do this training for these hard skills because I want to get my driving down, or whatever That is incredibly vital, and nothing I'm going to say takes away from that purpose. But the network of those training events is probably almost more valuable. You got to have the skills that you're learning.
Yes.
But the network may be more valuable. So for me, the network was huge. And in my networking through some of these training events is where I found mentors.
This is true.
But guys see you. Can you follow direction? Can you execute? Can you look, learn, assimilate the information, and execute?
Implement. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what this job is. That's what any job is, really. Can you do those things? They'll see it through the training. You'll pick up a mentor. You'll pick up a new company to work for, or a couple new ones. Some of our guys bounce around to several different companies that instead of just sticking in one. Yeah. There's different ways to do this thing. So that network thing is so valuable.
It really is, and that you said multiple things in there that I've been trying to harp on. What would you say? So, what would you say about having a private security company? Is it for everybody? If you were going to expand on being, because you're a legit company owner, like you got contracts. You're doing, you're doing some big things. What's it really like?
There's pluses and minuses to everything.
Yeah.
Is it for everybody? I don't think so. Is it for certain guys? Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, nobody would have a company, right?
Right.
So I think I'll speak for myself. Your business intelligence and business IQ has to be there, and it is painful learning that on the fly. And I can speak from experience. Like there's a lot of things I had to learn on the fly that you better get good at, because dudes don't have a sense of humor about not getting paid on time.
Right.
And I knew that, so I always pay guys on time.
Yeah.
If you can't miss that. You can't not account for tax. Like there's things that you don't necessarily think about early on. You're like, I just want a big company and I want to be a millionaire. We got our first client, and I was like, oh, we made it. No, you didn't make it.
Now you're working. Now you got work.
Yeah. No, now you got stuff to beat. Like you really got to scale and build. And we fight that challenge every day. Good. How do we expand? How do we scale? How do we build? How do we deliver an ever increasingly better product? How do we take better care of our people? How do we strategically network with other companies, big or smaller or the same size, in order to build a brand? So it's definitely a challenge, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of responsibility. If that's somebody's aspiration, I would never shut that down in an individual.
Right.
Definitely, like anything that you do, look at what dues are you willing to pay to get where you say you want to be.
Yeah. If you're going to sum up executive protection with a definition, what would you say it really is?
I would say it's preparing for all contingencies, right? Being able to look at, assess the landscape, understand what you're doing and why, and account for all the contingencies and put things in place for that.
That's a fantastic definition, because you know what? Like, it doesn't matter if it's security related half the time.
Right.
If you're there, standing there, and the client's got a problem.
Yeah.
You're getting the Rubik's Cube, homie.
It's those customer service things.
Right.
A lot, we talk about it here and there. I don't touch bags, this and that, other thing. Well, depending on the account you're on, You're really going to touch bags or you're not going to be on.
And there are times where on the detail, threat level, what have you, maybe you should be touching bags on this one.
Yeah.
And then hopefully leadership is having the right conversations with the right people, with the client to put together correctly. But that's the value of a good team and a good company. But yeah, man, a lot of aspects to this thing.
Yeah, no, that's probably one of the best definitions I've heard, because it's trying to prepare for everything. Love the most or hate the most about EP? What do you love the most about the game? What do you hate the most about the game? You start with either.
I love the challenge. I love the responsibility and the challenge. If something goes wrong, it's going to be my fault, period. End of story. If it goes right, I'm responsible for that. And as a good leader, you pass that to your team. But I like the challenge of it. It's my responsibility to make sure that this is seamless and nobody feels a bump, and they're able to be as productive as they can be. Or if they're on R&R, they're able to enjoy that. That's my responsibility. So it either goes that way or it doesn't, and it's going to fall on me either way.
That's huge.
So I like that challenge. But you find when you start facing things that are uncomfortable and that you're not good at, you learn a lot.
It becomes a way of life.
That's where you learn.
Yeah. How would you like the executive protection industry? How would you like to be remembered? How'd you like the game to remember you when it's all said and done?
Just as a quality contributing member. I help other individuals, guys up and coming, guys that were vets, other companies, clients, even stakeholders at whatever accounts I may have been on or had, and was a contributing member and made the industry better, right? So a mentor of mine had a mentor of his that something stuck with him and he gave to me was the industry's not going to change. It's not going to just morph, right? It's right. It's you who's going to change it. Like you got to do something about it. So if there's something to complain about, there's something to be done. So it's you guys in the industry doing the work that are going to change it for the better or for the worse. So make your market and change it for the better. So that stuck with me when it was shared with me. I was like, okay, good. How can I, from whatever vantage point I'm at, how do I contribute to this thing? So
that's awesome. The last question, man. Your company, what are you guys up to? Where do we find you? These days, man.
We're hustling. So we're at lawsecurityinc.com. At Law Security Inc. on Instagram.
Okay.
On LinkedIn, there's Law Security and Investigations Inc. So that's where we're at. We're we do a broad range of things. We do corporate office security, residential security. We got executive protection teams running. We do some uniform security for schools, churches, synagogues, and banks. So we've got a lot of those accounts running. We're looking at how do we ever increase the quality of our product to our existing clients, and then how do we expand the company and continue to do that. Help everybody that we touch from the ground up, whether it be employees, office staff, what have you, guys working the details, career advancement up to DLs and project managers, what have you. How do we help our clients achieve their goals?
Yeah. Nah, a lot of people say that, but I know y'all are about that because I was in there bouncing around. And then you stood out for those reasons. So
I appreciate that.
100%, bro. Nah, thanks so much for coming and doing this. And it's been
appreciate it.
100%. It's an honor to have you on the show.